real estate agent? Are you looking to acquire clients consistently so you can grow your business and your income to live a great lifestyle? This is Dave Finale and the RE Skill Builder Podcast.
Well, here we are. It's another Friday, another day, another week, another episode. And I want to welcome Jeff Lobb, someone I've watched for years and years as I've been going to the Inman conferences for years and years. Not the last couple of years, but I've watched you on stage. I've watched you collaborate. I've watched you on panels, and I've always been a fan. Jeff, thanks so much for coming on today.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me, man. It's exciting.
Awesome, man. Great. So this is episode 170. We've been doing this. Today is 167 weeks in a row. We've done a few extra episodes. Those extra episodes include three of the greatest people in our business. That would be Brent Gove, Tom Ferry, and John Cheplack, who are the extra episodes. Yeah. So, and all great people. And I want to thank you for coming on. But I do have a question before we get started in our content. And that is, do you know what TGIF stands for?
Well, I'll leave that up to you. I have my version of TGIF, yes.
You see, the last couple of people have said the same thing, which means you chicken out on answering the question, but that's cool, right?
I'm afraid that I'm going to miss something really cool here.
It's thank God it's finale. Exactly.
Thank God it's finale.
My broadcast, so anyway, so it's thank God it's finale, TGIF, episode 170. Jeff, you know what? You've been in the real estate business a couple of years, couple of days, and you started somewhere. Yeah. And what I always like to know is, I would like to know the reason you got into real estate, what the path was. We've gone through a lot of people that, from the greats. I mean, even Cheplack and Ferry, that they failed, or what their story was, or whatever. Yep. Where was it with you? What happened to you that made you get into real estate, and how did your path and story go through?
Yeah, so a lot of people don't even know like the early days. We always just say like, oh, we started in 1988, which to me, it doesn't mean much anymore because you have to be relevant today, right? So, but I started in actually my sales career started when I was in college working in the Caribbean islands. And people don't know a lot about that, but I lived in New Jersey. I commuted to the Caribbean islands. I worked in St. Martin, selling door-to-door commercial, selling advertising space for a radio show. And it turns out after doing St. Martin, and then we went to Aruba. It sounds glamorous. It was a lot of like me in a suit looking like Doogie Howser at that particular time, knocking on doors in the Caribbean, right? But what happened was after Desert Storm came in and whatever happened in those years, I ended up getting fired. And it was the first time I ever got fired. And I got fired because the market was a significant difference in Aruba versus St. Martin. Long story short is the client was different. I was trying to share feedback to the leadership, and no one wanted to listen to truths. And the model was different. So they fired me thinking I wasn't getting it done. Long story short, they changed their model about a year or two later and ended up surviving by listening. The guy that introduced me to that was in the real estate business, and he was actually a Century 21 agent.
Wow. And
that's what got me back into real estate. I got into my license, and I wanted to be like back then, the Donald Trumps and the books of the art of the deal. And like, I wanted to be this entrepreneur. Right. And real estate was like the guide from a sales role to real estate. And from there, it took its own world. Like an aggressive. So
way back when there was also this guy doing infomercials by the name of Carlton Sheets. Do you remember that one?
100%. Carlton. Oh my God. I think if I could dig up that course, it would be worth, he sold stuff every day, all day online. Right.
I know. I bought it. I bought it too.
Me too. I bought it. How to flip, no money down. And actually, you know what? Over the years, you start looking at it because of course I wanted to be that investor mentality. And I did buy some stuff, and you realize that you really could buy stuff not with no money. I bought a few properties, no money down, creatively when the market allowed it, like when that market was in the right time frame. Right. I bought some condos and some stuff in Virginia that I rented out. That was really using other people's money at that point. So it did work, but it was unique. It was very unique.
It was. Completely agree. Yeah. So, all right. So you get through that version. So bring us through to where you are today with everything that you do now.
I mean, to take 30 years and put it into a snapshot is spent eight in residential real estate, jumped into commercial. I did really well in commercial. Like I'm talking big scale commercial, like Blockbuster video deals and like that kind of stuff. Big money, but it took you a long time to get paid. I don't know if you ever did commercial. And I got, let's just say, taken out of the business by my own brokerage at that time. And they just, they swipe clients for me. It is what it is. And at the time, the .com was just being born. If you remember that era of .com, like literally when AOL was becoming something bigger than it was. And I got recruited to be a sales manager or sales role in the .com world. So I took my real estate license, parked it, kept my investment stuff going. And I ran .com world for like 10 years. Executive level, senior level sales, all sales though. Like, how do you sell this stuff? B2B. And then it busted in 99, 2000. And believe it or not, it sounds scary, but when you jump back into real estate, even though you have all this experience, you don't have your client base. Like, you're 10 years, you're like starting over. So I did. I started over. I built some teams, worked for some brands, bought some franchises, ran a bunch of franchise models. And then I was also, thank God, looked at as a career opportunity to be an executive for a large franchise brand.
Right.
And I spent 7 or 8 years of my life helping build a brand, probably from 200 or 300 offices to 700 offices, 800 offices, US, Canada. And that's where I got a lot of my exposure between us, Dave, is just like, out speaking, out talking to people, because I was always the front line of the brand. Right. But that got me exposure into the Inman world and to the Explode conferences and stuff that was out there, where I was out there just trying to elevate people's business. It wasn't about selling a brand. It was about, how do I elevate people? Right.
Yeah. So it's really about what the model is today of look, okay. So we went with the broker centric, the company centric to the office centric. Now we're actually an agent centric. Where you talk about people say, well, you don't, where are you from? Where's your office? It doesn't matter, right? Because everybody's our neighbor, right?
I just got off a call though, Dave. I'll be honest, which I'm still having a hard time wrapping my head around. But just got off a call. We were talking about some recruiting strategies with one of our coaching clients, and like there's people that are still, some mindset is I still want to have like that local office and that big name and. It depends on your mentality. Like
it does. It does.
In my mindset, I wouldn't care because I'll tell you a story. When I ran, this was a big learning lesson for me. Is when I ran a franchise in one particular market, and I was going to move my physical office from one, like let's just call it more upscale area to maybe more median income area.
Okay.
I freaked out. I'll be honest. I was like, I'm going to lose all my core business. I'm going to lose that that market share. And when I moved it to that area, because it was just a better location, it was a geographic territory thing for franchises, it didn't matter. I sold more. Like I sold more because no one frowned upon, like at that time where my office was. And I grew the office and I sold more. So to me, it was like that slap in the face that said, I got worked up over it, but it didn't matter. And
and same with me. I had moved originally. My office was on like a side street, main street, but side street. And I moved it right in the middle of town. Great location. It didn't matter. Did the same amount of business. It didn't help. It didn't hurt. Right.
Yep.
So that was it. My point I was trying to get to was we're talking about value transference, right? And that's what it's all about today is value transference. And that's what you've done forever. And that was what you were talking to. I mean, you weren't trying to sell this franchise or that franchise. You wanted to transfer the value of Jeff the value of what you represent in the company you represented.
That's right.
And that is so congruent with today, my business, et cetera. So go from there.
Yeah. So I got to a point where I realized I don't want to work with people who I have to fight to be better. I don't want to have to fight for you to be better. Like I don't want to, there's so many people that are hungry out there that want to really be better. And I don't care what level that means. You could be a $20,000 a year producer. You could be a 200. We want to help you level up from 200 to 400 or 20 to 80. And I only wanted to start to work with people who genuinely wanted to be hungry and be better. And I realized that I was fighting myself in some cases to work with people who just never would change. They didn't want change. They wouldn't do it. It was frustrating for my world. So when I started my SparkTank Media, my coaching company, and we made a conscious choice to no longer work with people who don't want to really do the work and be better. Choice. And if we accidentally get into that relationship, we're going to end it at some point because I can't do this for a living with people like that. So that was my choice.
So I have to tell you and just quickly, tell you that is exactly the reason I walked away from my brokerage 4 years ago, because I wanted to. I put it this way: I want to work with people that want to work.
Right, they want to work. They want to.
I have a lot of people contacting me these days because I'm with a company where I'm a mentor for the company, eXp Realty, and they want me to be their mentor. And I said, well, let me ask you these few questions. And the first question I said, are you going to show up? Are you going to work 100% of the time? Or are you going to be like 80, 90% of the people?
Yeah.
Because then that wouldn't be a match.
Right.
Right. So, and they'll say, well, I don't know. I said, well, look, I don't think we're a match. That's good. Right. Every time I've done that, I've had a home run with agents. Right. And that's just what you're talking about. Yeah. It's just, I mean, you know what? I got someone I'm working with now who got a little bit of a funk this week. He lost a deal or two. And I'm just saying, hey, man, let's go. Let's go. You got this. Let's go.
Welcome to
anyway. So I didn't mean to interrupt, but I wanted to tell you that we are very, very much alike. And we didn't even know it. But that's the reason I got out of that business. So anyway, go ahead.
No, it's where we want to be. And, you know, we do find that sometimes when we create, you know, we created one of our products we created was a scalable product called Coach 52. And I guess some of my frustration lies in there is, you know, when someone signs people up to this to share in our weekly coaching strategies that are on demand and you can have is don't sign everybody up for it. I don't want people who are never going to log into a system. Like if you don't want to actually log in and spend 10 minutes listening and working on your business or 30 minutes a week working on your business, don't sign up for it. I don't want you there. I don't need just logins and access. I want people who are actually going to go, you know what? Damn, you know, for this kind of content, it's so much worth my time. And, you know, we're listening to people. Listen, you and I both, we either travel or we're in conferences, right? We're working with top producers or people that are willing to, I want to take all those good ideas and I want to give it to more people, but those more people have to be willing to do the work. I don't want numbers. I don't need 1,000 people in a system that are never going to do anything.
No, because you know what? You know, we can talk about income. We can talk about a lot of different things, but as far as our positions that we're talking about, and this is, everybody should listen to this, is that, you know, if you're looking for somebody that really cares about you, you got two guys right here.
Yeah.
Right. There's a value transference that we're trying to do. You know, I'll tell one more quick story and then I'll be done. Let it go. You know, I used to work with agents that would come into my office, spend 30, 60, 90 minutes with me and say, okay, we're going to do this. And this is where you commit to doing this work. Yep, absolutely. Great. So next week, this is the time we're meeting. Make sure you've done all these steps and get together. They'd come to the next meeting and say, well, yeah, I really didn't get to what we talked about. And I would, and what pissed them off was say, well, we've really got nothing to go forward with because you didn't do what you had to do, which was the first step. And that's when I knew it was time for me to go.
Yeah.
You know,
well,
so, but anyway.
You say to yourself, like, okay, so you didn't do that. And they're looking at you like, well, what should I do now? How about do what you said you were going to do first? Let's just go start there.
So
go back over that and do that first. When you do that, come back.
So let's talk about this. This is a great point because giving our values to everybody's value is really important. So I believe that the first thing that people need to do in our business, and I want you to go from here and add to it, is show up. So the first thing people need to do is show up. So how would you, okay, with Coach 52, you start, I mean, you're not starting at this, well, they start at the beginning, I guess, and they can jump around, but what are the parameters of someone to work with Jeff Lobb? What do you need for you to be extremely effective?
So showing up is first. And that's a good point. It sounds simple, but what people say they want and what they really want are two different things. They'll all say, yes, I'll be accountable. I want to be accountable. But when it really comes time to be accountable, like more than 50, 60% will drop off the face of the earth because there's always something else that makes them busy. And I joke when people say, you know, hey, Jeff, I am so busy right now. That's awesome. Are you making too much money or are you busy and still not hitting your goals? Because the word busy is something I just want to throw out the window.
Love it.
You could be, I mean, I have so many people, everyone's busy, but are you actually doing what you want? And if you are that busy and you are making that much money, which some people are, do you need more time? Do you need help with time? Because you could, and I share this with people publicly, like I have physically burnt out of the business once or twice. I'm talking the one-time crash and burn. And while I never want to see that happen to somebody in their careers, I learned monetarily, emotionally, and what it cost me to crash and burn. Yeah. So when we get people at that high level, which we have some we are working with right now, my biggest concern is, yeah, you're making all this money, you're doing all this stuff and you're successful, but how long can you do it for the way you're running? Because your body and your mindset can only handle so much. You need systems and people and delegation and some other stuff. So it's a different set of problems.
Yeah, and I agree with that. It's a different set of problems, but it's also, okay, so the decision for that type of agent that's doing really well and wants to keep going is, do they want to keep going and growing, or do they want to have a consistent flow of income? It still takes a system. It still take processes, right? So go from there.
No, so the average agent or the typical agent, the biggest challenge they have is they might even show up. If they do show up, which is half the battle, it's now what do they do with their time? And I tell people all the time is, and I've done this with a live group, and it's so much fun to do when you can really do it live, is I'll tell everybody, imagine we had a group of, let's just say it was a team of 18 people, 15 people. And I said, right now, everyone right now, take out your phones, take out your calendars. Great. You got them in front of you? Good. Screenshot them for the week. Screenshot your week for me. Send it to me right now. And you got to watch their faces. It's like, oh my God. So, and they're like, well, what do you want? I'm like, I want to see your week. What's your week look like?
Right.
Today's Monday. What's it look like through Sunday? Send it to me. And I'm going to say, here's what's going to happen. You're losing money right now in the gaps in your calendar right now. Not only gaps, you have gaping gaps, but you're losing money right there. Here's why. Right. You have a listing appointment. You're prepared. You show up on time. You spend your hour or two there doing that thing. Then when you have between 2 and 5 o'clock and there's nothing in that calendar, what are you doing with your time? And most of the time it's going to be like, well, I'm following up on emails, or I'm searching MLS for my buyers, or I'm setting up. Okay, great. But how much of that time is finding new business? That's right. We always spend time finding stuff that we got to do for stuff to do. But how much of that time is spent finding new business, finding new people to talk to, new networks to be part of? And very, very little of that time is ever spent doing that. It's always spent doing busy stuff. And that's our goal, is how do we shift that calendar? How do we get you to be accountable to say, look, if I got a 3-hour window, what am I going to do? And I have to go find stuff for my buyers. Great. But imagine if you took 1 hour of it and went and found 10 new people to talk to, 10 new people to talk to in a network, or find something else to go join, or taking someone to lunch that actually could generate referral business for you. We don't do that because that's the hard work. And the hard work is where people are making the money or not.
Exactly. It's like, it's funny, I look at agents, and I look at what people usually say is find a successful agent and copy what they do. Yeah. I am for that. If you copy everything they do, if you're looking at the tip of the iceberg, don't. I mean, there's this guy I recently met that is just like, he is just like beast animal. I mean, his name is Kenny Trung. He was actually on my broadcast a few weeks ago.
Kenny, of course.
Kenny Fast.
Of course. Good.
Right. Yep. So I mean, I look at his Instagram, I look at his stories, I look at what he's doing and everything that he's doing. I mean, he is just like, I look at it and say, that's who I need to be in order to build my business. I'm not building the same business that Kenny's building. It's a different type of business. But if you can aspire to that, because I've talked to Kenny, I know where he came from. I know how he started. He started to climb, which was Mark Choey, and then all this other stuff. Everything seems to come to balance, right? Yep. So, I mean, that's what I look at. But I do see the 80-90% of the agents, what they're doing is they're just taking the tip of the iceberg,
right,
on social media, and it's noise. How do we avoid, you're a social media expert, right? So how do we avoid being noisy on social media?
You have to, and by the way, Kenny is a beast on Instagram, IG stories, man. He is just an absolute on IG stories. Yes. I can't even fathom how he accomplishes that, and I love him for it. So
I got to be honest. I've started a couple of days this week trying to do what he does, and I get into my stuff and say, "Oh shit, I didn't do a Kenny," right? So I'm actually gonna call it a Kenny Fast Instagram from now on. Anyway,
no, so look, people get so stuck on what to post. Do I need to hire someone to post? No, the answer is the word social is truly that. It's not about really you. It's about your audience. First of all, who the hell is your audience? Right. And what is something they actually want that will, like, if you think about it, what was something that would get my attention? If I'm someone's audience and someone paid attention to me, what would I open? What would I watch? What would I pay attention? What would I look forward to seeing again? And until you know that, you're not creating the content you're supposed to be creating. It's all about what they want, how they want it, and delivering just that. And we make it too complicated. And I think the biggest problem is most people don't really understand their audience. They don't know who it is. It's so diverse. So someone like myself, my attention, like if you knew my personal world or besides like cool, marketing strategies and some cool sales stuff, I coach kids lacrosse. I'm an outdoor guy. I like hunting and fishing. Like I have 6 kids. Like give me stuff relevant to that and I'll pay attention all day. Then you might say, well, that's only you. What about like the other 100, 200 people that are my audience? They all have things in common. They either have a business in common. They've got children in common. They've got lives in common. Like what is in common? And just share that. And the whole point, I think the biggest problem still is people don't want to share their personal world. They think it's like you can't be a secret agent anymore. Right. And, like I'm afraid to show people what I do on my weekends. Why? What the hell do you think you have in common with people? It's what you do on the weekends that people care about. Like, are you boating this weekend? Because I have a boat. You have a boat. Let's talk about boating. Like they want to have this secret life and then just here's my business. Today's world is not that. It is so not that. If you want something in common, you better start to share things that you have in common with people as a life, not just as a business.
So I tell agents when I start working with them, before I start working with them, I have a couple of groups that I coach with others. And actually every night, 6 nights a week, we do a coaching call with about 30, 40 people. And they show up every night, which is amazing. But anyway, it's called Commitment to Capping. And we always work with cappers. But anyway, one of the things I tell them is that they have to understand something. You're a real estate agent. You're not a public figure. Okay. First place people are going, agree with me or not, first place people are going to find out if you really are who you say you are is Facebook.
Yeah.
Then they'll go to Google, right?
Yeah.
If they can't find you, and if you don't have contact information, or it doesn't say you're with somebody, or if you say real estate agent with Coldwell Banker, and they click on Coldwell Banker and it goes to the corporate site, that doesn't tell me anything.
No.
Doesn't tell me anything.
Nope.
Right? It tells me that you play in real estate, but if I can't find you, I talked to a potential client yesterday. I said, I can't seem to find you on Facebook as we're having this conversation. Well, I have a business page. I said, what about your personal page? Well, I try to keep that quiet. I don't want to do that. Another person, I found their business page. I go to their personal page and it says, I'm not here to make friends. I'm just here to keep in touch with family. I said, you're a real estate agent now. Guess what? You're here to make friends.
Yeah, you better make some friends and you better get your butt out there because that's how life is. Look, I say all the time, if you're not out there in front of people, someone else is. So it's your choice. You want to be private, great, be private. But I'll tell you what, if I'm in front of your friends and family and I'm showing success, I might actually just take your business away from you.
Well, yeah.
That's how it is.
Yeah, exactly. So that's a great line to go down here. So I would always talk to agents, and I'm sure you've had the same thing happen to you. An agent comes in and says, you know what, I can't believe it. My cousin, he actually bought a house from Joe Blow down the street in the same town. I can't believe it. I said, what can't you believe about it? He says, well, they forgot about me.
Yeah.
I said, not really. You forgot about them.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I've had a guy I coach with on a regular basis now. His brother didn't use him because he thought he was too busy.
Yeah, you're too busy for me, or
right,
and this is commingle the family stuff and no confidence.
And this is stuff that we coach and teach and train, and everybody's going to make the mistake. So the only way, really, we're lucky because 20 years ago we didn't have Facebook, we didn't have Instagram, we didn't have TikTok. We didn't have YouTube. It started, it was starting a little bit, but we didn't know anything about it.
Nope.
The way to keep in touch, the way to be present, and the way to get known, which is also a great book, is to be out there. And you've got to use it in a multi-channel system. What would you tell a new agent getting started, Jeff, to build their business? How would they start building their business? If you're going to give them 5 to 10 steps, what would they be?
Yep. So I think the first challenge they have is they get overwhelmed coming into the business with all the stuff they got to learn, right? I got to learn MLS, I got to learn this, and they get all consumed with that. The problem is they go 30, 60, 90 days down the road, they're trying to learn all this stuff and they still have not anything to do with like, how do I find business? So the number one thing that has to happen is they have to realize, and if someone could tell them this sooner than later, that they're not in the real estate business, they're in the business of people. how do I go find people, whether it's, and I have this theme in a talk that I do called 7 Streams of People. It's about how do I build, it's just like multiple streams of income. How do I find groups of people for me to network with, to get to know me? And it could be my sphere. It could be a school thing. It could be a board of ed thing. Where am I going to put myself that puts me in front of people that get to know me for what I do and for what I do for a living?
Right.
And that's the hard part, because it's work. You know, everyone's expecting like, well, I'm going to wait. I'm going to get some Zillow leads. Now, I'm not saying Zillow leads and Realtor.com leads don't work. They're great, but that's reactive, not proactive.
Exactly.
We've got to find proactive work. And it means, if it means going out and finding those people, and that's where people get stuck, is where do I go? What do I do? And those who happen to be just really more social in general are the ones that are going to be successful quicker, because they're just out there talking to people, doing their thing. It could be the mom whose kids finally went to school and, hey, I want to start doing some work, but they know everybody. And they know everybody because they're out there talking and being part of the kids thing and the soccer club, and they're doing business. So we get so caught up on trying to be like professional and trying to be all this like education. But at the same time, that is good, but you're going broke. So I think it's finding the multiple streams or groups of people that you can partner with and find and talk to and take to lunch and just engage. The more people you get to know, the more opportunities you will have. And if you don't do that, you'll be one of the statistics that goes in and out of the business in a couple of years.
But Jeff, I'm a new real estate agent and I need now business. What am I going to do? How am I going to get that? You're talking to me about building relationships, right? And that might take months, years. I mean, I need business now. What do I do?
So to me, I've always been a big, geographic farmer too. I always started with, and I always loved building different farm areas. And I know the terms have changed a little bit. Like you can still go old school, but the reality is there's technology and data now that you have a lot of access to. But to me, there is no instant gratification. If you want instant business, you got to reach out to the people that you currently know right now and have conversations. And not only just have conversations, ask them, hey, listen, just be blunt. I'm getting started in real estate. I just wanted to reach out. They not only let you know, but I always like this ask, but I would really appreciate it. And to me, it's my little preface is, if you don't mind, could you do me a favor? Sure. What can I do for you? If you don't mind, as you're at work, as you're doing things, I would love maybe someone you know or someone you hear that's looking to buy or sell real estate. I would love the referral. I'm looking to grow my business. Is that something you can keep me in mind for? Sure. Like you got to start there. Yep. With there is not a lot of magic to it, right? But then you got to start creating some foundation. If you're going to build a house, the foundation has to start. My foundation always came into like, what is like a good feeder program? To me, I think of sports all the time, sports analogy.
Me too.
You want a really good football team. You got to have a good college program, a good high school program. Everything feeds each other, right? That's how you get to the pros.
Yep.
It's going to feed your business. So when I look at like farm areas, which people talk about all the time, but have very little discipline in, is what's a good feeder? Meaning, it may not be the highest price point you want. Like I want to sell $800,000 homes. If it's the condos in your area that happen to be $300,000, but they're selling like 5 a month, 8 a month in there, and there's a lot of churn and activity, that's where I need to be. And to me, most of my successful farm areas were the lower to mid-range price points because I could get the first-time home buyer in, so I had product. They live there for a year or two, and then they grow out of their 2-bedroom condo because now they had some kids. So I get that listing back if I did my job for over the last few years and kept the relationship. Sell that listing, sell them up to the $400,000 or $500,000 colonial that they wanted, and it's like a whole cycle of feeding the next level stuff. But you've got to get discipline in there and get ownership and get people to know you. And whether you still think, whether it's print marketing, doing events in the area, on site, off site, local businesses nearby, how do you get those 600 people in that, let's say, condo development to know you? And there's only so many ways to do it. So to me, that's a core foundation. It's still not going to turn a deal tomorrow, but that's what that becomes if you want to really be successful. And people say to me, well, Jeff, I already got one of those. I really do really well at that. Awesome. You know what we do? We duplicate it somewhere else. Let's go get another one. Let's go get another one. Imagine if we did it here or in this town or in that town. Now you want to get more, more depth. And so new agents have to realize that you got to just get out and start asking and just telling people what you're looking for. You got to ask or you'll never get.
Exactly. I mean, you're talking about building a foundation of business, a footing in a foundation of business. where it's always going to be there. You're always going to have like a nice thing. So I believe in what's called the marketing rule of 12. You got to talk to people at least like 12 times, 5 to 12 times where the business is going to happen. That's for development stuff. But I also believe that 15% of the people you know are moving in the next 12 months.
That's right.
I also believe that 100% of the people you know someone who's moving in the next 12 months, which is so important for us to stay in touch, for us to be out in front. I don't think it's a great line to say, I'm never too busy for your referrals. I've always hated that line, Jeff, you know.
It makes me,
you know,
can I, let me jump on. Because you're right. It makes me nuts. Like you just hit the Jeff Lobb hop button. I'm never too busy for referrals.
Good, man. Go.
So here's what I'll say. We always say you're not too busy for referrals. What have you done as a real estate professional to continue to be human with those people and continue to earn those referrals? So it goes back to the whole like, well, I've people homes, and maybe I got a 3 to 5 year window of people I've sold them stuff to. How are you staying connected to them for that referral business? And if you go, well, I have an email campaign that goes out. I have a newsletter that goes out. Okay, awesome. So what? How do you know if they're opening half your emails? Because what if it's so generic and such content that no one even cares? They don't even remember you. What are you doing at a human level to stay connected? Like, do you know their dog's name? Do you know they just got, they just had a baby? Do you know that they just went on vacation to Aruba? Do you know, like, are you staying in touch with them at that level? Because that's where you're going to lose the business, is because you're not paying attention to them on a daily consumer basis, and someone else is. That's where Facebook and Facebook lists and Facebook groups, like those are the things you need to pay attention to, because they are putting it all out there. They are telling you what they're doing. They're telling you they got a new puppy. You're not paying attention. You're not looking, because you're just chasing the next deal. And yet people say to me, Jeff, I only have a database of 100 people or 50 people. Yeah, but they all know 200 each. You want access to their network, but we're not paying attention. So when they see you're never too busy for referrals, what are you doing to earn them? Because you have to earn referrals. You don't just expect them. And we're losing that human connection after they get done with doing business, because we're chasing new. So to me, it's the aftermath of the sale to get that referral business in. And I'll tell you, I watch it all the time. Here's why it's a proven fact that this doesn't work for real estate agents. And I'm on a mission to solve it. But anytime I see somebody I go to a Facebook group that in my own town, and I see that post. Anybody got a good landscaper? Does anybody have a good roofer? Okay. You're asking strangers in a group to give you vetting information about a roofer or a landscaper. Do you think your realtor knows a good freaking landscaper or a roofer? They probably know 3. Why didn't you call them? Why didn't you call your realtor? Because they don't know your realtor has that value. We never told them we have this value. We never told them we have a network of people we can help them with around their home. And I call it, this is my term with the whole sales ecosystem, is we don't do a good enough job telling people, if you need anything, not just about the sale of your home, anything to do with your home, anything to do with your lifestyle or town or recommendations, you need to do something on a consistent basis that shows you have that knowledge. Because imagine if they actually called you instead. Hey, Jeff, you got a good landscaper? Yeah, I got 2 or 3. I'll be happy to refer to you. Yeah. You're going to go ask strangers instead? That's a realtor failure. Why are you asking strangers?
Exactly. And how about, and this actually expands your social media content system, simply because, hey, of a good landscaper. Let's just use that as an example, right? 100%. Hey, how about doing a video with a landscaper? Hey, this guy came over, took care of this house. I mean, this is John Jones, Ace Landscaping in the area here. Great guy. You should use him. And this goes on your page. This is stuff that's always going to be there. It's going to be evergreen content forever, right? This is how you do that. You don't go say, hey, I got landscapers. I got a list of people if you need it.
Yeah, I don't need your list of stuff. I want to know, because what do you think that guy John Jones, the landscaper, thinks now? You just promoted him. You spent time. Right. I'm a big believer in taking your time and not only promoting businesses, but being an advocate for those who do a good job, right? You might have 5 landscapers, but you're right. Do that video. Do that video content that shows not only are you savvy with that stuff because you're telling your audience that, but you're also bringing a value to that particular business owner, and it's on your page, and it's social, and it's perception, and it's not like some list of like, here's my brand and my list of approved vendors. Who cares?
Who gives a shit? I mean, here's the thing, and it says to people what kind of value you actually do by giving value to others, and you're not asking for business.
Right.
Right.
Your biggest value needs to be community driven. Like I have one client, she called me and she's like, you'll never believe what one of my past clients called me and asked me. I'm like, I'll believe it, because I knew this person is a connector. She's like, they called me and asked me if I had a good pediatric doctor for the baby. Like, great. She's like, I had 2 or 3. That's amazing. Like, I'm so impressed that they thought to call me. Like, I felt like, because you did a good enough job networking to let them know you have so many good contacts in the community. So imagine if your clients were calling you like, hey, Jeff, do you have a good chiropractor? I need a good chiropractor. Who do you know? Who do you know? Like, of course. And if you don't know good chiropractors, you should be. That's your job. Because guess what? Do chiropractors buy homes? Sure. Do they have 500 people that show up at their offices on a weekly basis? Yes. You need access to that network and relationships with those people that have access to those networks. That's the magic. You're not selling anything. Just be human.
I mean, look, I know you were at the same Inman conference I was, where Gary Vee talked, right? Yeah. And he's talking about, if you're
digital mayor, right?
Right. The digital mayor. He's the one who started it. And there's a guy out in San Diego, Kyle Whistle, who has a program called the Digital Mayor. Right. And it's all about video and how to become the digital mayor in your town. Right. He built a system on it. I don't know if you know Kyle. He's excellent. His team will do 500 million this year. Right. Yep. So, I mean, you've got to get out there and we're not talking about selling real estate. We're talking about giving value. The whole time that we've been on so far, Jeff, that's what we've been talking about. Yep. And it's a change from, instead of saying, look at me, how great I am, it's how can I help you?
So here's a thought, because someone's asked this question at some of these conferences and said, hey, Jeff, if you had to get relicensed, if you took your license and put it back active and started selling tomorrow, where would you start? Now, granted, we can have all this experience. That's why I hate to say to people nowadays, like, oh, I'm in the business 30 some years, because to me, like, it's almost like it's irrelevant. Who cares? Because 30 years ago, however, people were still people back then, and we just learned to talk to them more often because we didn't have social channels. However, I said, look, if you just dropped me in the middle of, I live in New Jersey. So if you dropped me in the middle of, like, I don't know, Denver, and I know nobody, and you said, Jeff, start selling real estate, what would I do? Well, probably one of the core things I would do is I'd probably get right to Facebook and create a page called something like, that's not taken, of course, living in Denver, best of whatever, something best of that area. And I'm going to start talking to business owners in the town and the area that I want to sell. And my approach is going to be this. And I use the same, it's not even a script, it's the same language. Hey, I'm Jeff Lobb. I'm with, XYZ Realty. Just moving into the area. We're looking to sell a bunch of real estate in the market. But one of the things I find, though, is the people that live here always want to know a good place to go eat, whatever, steak, pizza, whatever. I would love to be able to promote your pizzeria on my page to my real estate audience as I build my audience. And I'd love to send you some more business. Would that be okay? And they'd be like, yeah, of course. Great. What do you want to do? Here, this would be my video. Hey, it's Jeff Lobb downtown in so-and-so Denver. One of my favorite places for pizza. If you've met the owner, like, I would just do this whole little thing, 60 seconds, 2 minutes, 3 minutes. Guess what? A, I got good content. B, I'm the local expert because that's what people see and think. C, do you think this person appreciates me doing a promotion at no charge, no nothing? Because when I really did this before Facebook was born, I used to do this as part of my sales career. Was the real answer one time, and it was a pizzeria, Dave. He actually looked at me and he goes, well, that sounds great, but what's it going to cost me? I'm like, oh, I'm not selling you advertising. I don't think he's like, well, why are you doing this? Now, I didn't have a real answer, but what came out of my face was actually pretty good. I go, no, we just sell a lot of real estate in the area, all over town here. And all my clients always are asking, I want to try something different. Where do you recommend? I just want to recommend you guys. Would that be okay? They're like, yeah, that'd be great. I'm like, awesome. Great. Let's do a little video when you get a break. Let's do a little video. I mean, at the time it was probably pictures, not video. Right. But we would post it and we would make that content. Next thing you know, and in real life, this person and his wife, and I became like, hey, here's my real estate guy. Like, I'd walk in just for lunch. Right. Hey, my real estate guy's here. Do you have a line out the door, like, for some clubs and pizza? And I'd be like, oh, the real estate guy's here. And I'm like, hey, what's up? He'd let me in the kitchen. We knew the family. Like, imagine if you did that once a week with somebody.
Right.
And there's no ask. That's the Gary Vee. It's that mindset of jab, 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 right hook, right? Like, it's like,
absolutely.
I'll give you value. Look, I want to promote you to my people. That's all I want to do. And secondly, a lot of the people might say, hey, Jeff, I'm looking to do a housewarming. Who's a good caterer? Oh, I got my pizza guy. He does catering. It's great. Let me introduce you to him.
Yeah, and it's they're going to cross promote you, and you don't even have to ask for it.
No,
right?
I didn't ask you to put my card on the little cork board thing. I didn't say you got to do this. I just said I'd like to promote you guys. I think you really do a nice job in town. You're local. You're near my farm area. We sell a lot of homes in the area. And if you're brand new and haven't sold one damn home, you just say we sell a lot of homes in the area, and it becomes the brokerage, the team, or whatever you're part of. Just keep going because we do sell a lot.
Exactly. I mean, it's simple. I mean, you just can't get everybody to do that though.
Nope.
Right. It's just, I mean, you just said, I want to repeat the concept. Parachute down, new area, never been there before. Yep. This is a way to begin selling homes and building a business quickly. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to tell you, a guy I work with, my partner in the team I work with, one of the teams I work with, he started his business 15, 20 years ago by going up and down the main street, going into the stores and introducing himself. Hey, I'm Mark. I work this real estate company. I just want to let you know we're selling tons of real estate. If you know of anybody, let me know. And how can I help you grow your business?
Yeah, how can I help you?
Right. And it's just an amazing way to do that. So I want to get into things that you're doing, man. I want to talk about SparkTank Media. What is SparkTank Media? Tell me about what's going on with that, and just what is SparkTank Media? How does it work?
Okay, so I wanted to create, as I mentioned, I'm a big believer in multiple streams of income, on multiple streams of lead sources. So when I created SparkTank Media, I wanted to have a parent company that had multiple streams of businesses, and I'm thrilled with some of the business partnerships we've created. So couple good examples. One of my, and I chose to be exclusive with some partners based on relationship too. Okay. So one of my partners, Family First Funding, is a mortgage company. They were a small regional company when I first met them. He approached me at a session I was doing for an association. He was in the back of the room, and he came to me and said, the mindset of, hey, I was watching real estate agents just magnetized to writing stuff down. You had their attention for a good hour. How could you help us? I'm like, well, what do you mean? You're in the mortgage business. I don't have, So it was a niche that became created because the loan officers need relationships with real estate agents, and real estate agents need value, right? So when I sat in my brokerage many, many years, it'd be like a revolving door, a mortgage person, a title person. Right. They all had the same selling. They had the same nonsense. Hey, I want to stop by into one of your office meetings. Hey, I want to drop off a packet. For what? Like, it's just going to go right in the garbage when you're done. Like, why? Well, we got great rates and great service and blah, blah, blah. Like the other guy just said that last week. So there was no difference. However, what if you walked into a brokerage and said, hey, Jeff, you're the broker owner. Hey, while we do loans really well, one of the things we pride ourselves in is working with brokerages like yourself to help your agents do more transactions, get better at social media, and potentially help you maybe recruit some new agents. Would that be something we can help you with? What brokerage doesn't need more transactions, sharper agents in marketing? Like, they're like, yeah, how do you do that? And then, so I became part of like a toolbox, if you will, to, let's say, my mortgage partners. I did the same thing with a large title underwriter as well, WFG underwriters, where we help the title agents bring value to the real estate audience as a value proposition first, right? I'm not asking for business. I just want to help you guys. How can we help you? So I've got so those are my arms. I've got a mortgage partner, which I'm thrilled with for the last 7 years, a title partner, last 7 years. And then, of course, we've got our coaching product. Now, coaching was a different model. And it's not that any one is better than the other, right? You've seen millions of models. Right. I chose like a couple things that hit me were some very, very large coaching companies that are out there that have coaches like that are designated. I get phone calls from some of these coaches, and it was really interesting to me because imagine getting, like, let's say one of the top coaching companies have a coach call you and go, hey, Jeff, listen, I saw you speak in DC and you were talking about some social media strategies and stuff. My 9 coaching clients really need help there. Could I hire you to do it? And in my own mind, I'm going, wait, you're a coaching company. Like, you're going to put your clients in front of me? Like, it was bizarre. Like, they didn't have the rounded knowledge of things.
Right.
So of course I did it. I thought it was the most fun thing ever.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it was amazing. Like, does the owner of your company know your company? But I don't care. I'm going to do it anyway, just because. Right. So I chose to say, listen, I'm going to coach people more strategically, higher level. It's one-on-one with me. There's only 10 to 12 people I can work with at any given month and time. And most people I've had for years. So there's only time slots available whenever. Then I said, but how do I scale? You can't scale that, right? It's not scalable.
No.
So I said, all these amazing ideas, all these team strategies, all these cool social strategies, all these cool sales, farming strategies. How do I bring it to more people at more affordable pricing and scale? So that's when I built Coach 52 weeks out of the year. It's an on-demand system. Now it's not me live. It's live. I'm live once a month, let's say. I'm available once a month as we have a team that can also support it. But they can log in, track their goals. Because to me, my pet peeve is the simplest pet peeve, which most still can't answer, is if I say, hey, I want to make 150 grand this year, because they'll tell you that they made a business plan somewhere in January. And they haven't looked at it since, but they want to make 150 grand. And if I said, hey, right now we're in September, where are you versus your goal? Where you at? What do you mean? Are you 3/4 there? Are you ahead of goal? Where are you pacing? They have no idea. No idea. So
Right.
I created a simple dashboard that said, hey, once a week, log in and just put your simple numbers in. Did I have a closing? How much was it? Here's my net check. Here's my gross check. Put it in there. It'll figure it all out for you and go, hey, green, you're ahead. Red, you're behind. And it'll show you a nice little dashboard. It unlocks the next video session that I've created about these strategies that we talk about. Like we probably talked about 5 right here.
Right.
But they're built into small sessions, 10-minute, 15-minute sessions. A brokerage could put all their agents in. Agents get all their own logins and or a team. And they get access to that. They get access to my not only coaching, they get access to training, which is actually training step-by-step stuff. They get access to all my tools and resources. They get access to everything in one system that we can scale. So I wanted it to be a brokerage product because brokers struggle sometimes on finding value to their agents.
Right.
But here's where I struggle. If a brokerage has 200 people, I will tell that brokerage, listen, I know you want to offer value to all 200. Don't put them all in.
No.
Like they're not like, if only 30 out of the 200 are going to use it, let's get the 30. I don't need 200 people to show a number to somebody. And I don't want to have like 170 or 180 non-logins. Like it's wasting our time. I only want those who want to take advantage. And if they want more, they can always elevate and come up to one-on-one coaching. But at the same time, I wanted to bring a value to a brokerage or a team that said, hey, for really affordable numbers, we can give you all these ideas and strategies delivered to you on your smartphone, on your iPad, whatever the hell you have. And you just have to show up. Just show up, log in. 10 minutes, 20 minutes a week to work on your business. See where you are, get some new ideas. You can ask us questions. You get access to our team to like, hey, I've got an idea. You get access to our private Facebook group. All that built in to scale. So that's where we're trying to focus on our product now, is putting that in the right hands of the right people that want to give that value to their agents and or as an agent solo. You can buy it as an agent solo, but it's really meant for brokerages and teams.
Right. So one of the things that you've done is you've taken a product where do you also offer calls or you said you do once a month, you do a group?
I'll do a live. Yeah, I'll do a live, like either office hours with Jeff, or I'll do a live just webinar series where I'll do a session on a topic live, and then I'll stick around for 30 minutes and they can answer questions.
Yeah, I want everybody to listen to and rewatch this portion we just talked about, and because what Jeff's doing is a different style of a coaching, different type of coaching model, right? Mm-hmm. There's a lot of coaching models out there, and look, there's the greats out there, right? And yeah. I've worked with a lot of them. You know them all.
Yep.
Right? I may not know them all. I mean, some are old, some are young, some are new, some have been around a while. But I believe that the brand of coaching that you're talking about is the model that actually works. You've got your one-on-one stuff, which you're probably doing the same stuff in Coach 52, but it's one-on-one to enhance and hone in on certain skills, right?
It's very strategic because it's only me and it's usually a higher level producer. It's very strategic to that person's needs. Like somebody like this morning's call, we're very specific about bringing 3 new team members on. Yesterday might have been, I got all these Zillow leads and I'm not getting conversion. Let's talk about conversion or like whatever it is. It's very strategic because I have that rounded knowledge. I can talk to those areas. A lot of coaches sometimes don't have it. They're just trying to follow a system of this is what we got to do today. And did you do it? And it's not bad. It works, but it's just something that I don't feel is my style. It's not my not my tribe, if you will.
Right. And I believe that the model you just talked about, I mean, you say it works. I'm kind of iffy I'm kind of on the fence about whether it still works or not, because people still need the touchy feely, right? You know, I look at the systems that we have today, and the brokerage systems. Let's go there instead of the coaching systems. Now, I think most brokerage systems, we're in the middle of an evolution. We're in the middle of a revolution as far as coaching models are concerned. Both business models are concerned, right? And I believe that I'm going to tell you that if I speak to 100 agents this week and I ask the same question, who's standing next to you to help you build your business? I'm going to tell you that 95 of those 100 are going to say no one.
No one. That's right.
Right. And that's going to happen. And when I'm looking at the businesses and I'm talking to people that want to work, as we said earlier, I'm looking at say, okay, you want to work. I want to work with, they have this capping models right now. So our group that we work with on a nightly basis is called Commitment to Capping. So we're working with people that want to be cappers, right? In my organization, the next thing is Icon. Right. So what are capping activities, right? Yep. And that's the hard thing, because people learn the bits of the business. They learn the start. They learn the strategies, the tactics, calling for sale by owners, farming. You've touched on a lot of this stuff in the last 45 minutes. But the next step, no one seems to know how to get them there. And that's my little niche, is getting people to cap and getting people to the next step, right? And whenever somebody starts worrying about something, I say, that's not what you do. You know what I mean? Yeah. That's not what a capper does. A capper doesn't bitch and moan about stuff. He just moves on and says, next.
Right? Keep going. Right?
So I've got a couple of things real quick I wanted to show. Is this a way? Is that your website there? Is that correct?
Yeah, SparkTankMedia.com. Yeah, Coach52.com. Either one. That's my parent. Yeah, it's my overall thing. You can connect to everything on.
And how do people get in touch with you, Jeff, in order to sign up with you or to have a conversation with you? What's the best way to reach you?
I'm pretty easy, but I'll tell you the simplest way, if you want access to all my contacts, all my social and everything, just go to jefflobb.social. It's my digital business card. You can have access to all my IG accounts and Facebook and see a picture of my family there and all that fun stuff. So jefflobb.social is my digital business card you guys can have.
There it is on the bottom there, jefflobb.social, right? And so if there were a couple of things that people could do right away, Jeff, from you and how to help them, what would be the couple of things that any agent could do that would help their business today?
I think the biggest neglect in our business that they need to work on right now is truly sharpening their database. The number one thing we're going to have that's going to drive, especially if you think technology is changing now in the next 5 years, is if you don't have a good database of people, contacts, and email addresses, personal email addresses, by the way, it's going to be the only way to target and find anybody online from a proactive standpoint. When we talk to people about, well, I've got all these Zillow leads. Okay, well, what did you do with them? Where are they? Well, they haven't called me back. They're dead. This is a fun thing we just went over yesterday. There's the psychology of real estate here. Watch. So if I stand in front of a large group, it could be thousands, and I'll say, listen, how many of you have a bunch of leads that came in from Realtor.com, Zillow, open houses, and stuff that are just that ghosted you, never called you back, don't even know who you are, and you would call them dead leads, dead. And I'll say, I get the hands. Okay, yeah, I got those. Great, give them all to me. I'll take them. And they look at you like, what? Would you give them to me? I'll take them. They're dead, right? I'll take them. Send them over to me. Email them to me. Spreadsheet. I'll take them. They're like, hell no, I'm not giving them to you. Well, what do you mean you're not giving them to me? They're dead. You said you're never going to call them again. They don't know who you are. They're not calling you. What are you doing with them? Give them to me. Like, no, I won't give them to you. Okay. So now you're going to hold on to something that you're going to do nothing with. What if so here's the next psychology. What if I paid you a 25% referral on everything I converted? Would you give them to me now? Oh, hell yeah. Here you go. Okay, great. Now you'll give them to me. What are you doing with them now? Do you know how many dead, quote unquote, leads you have that right now are probably money sitting in your database or sitting in your notepad or sitting on a sticky note somewhere? Yep. That just because our egos get in the way. I'm smart enough to know now that says, if I got 100 people that have never called me back and I've tried and I've texted and I've done this and I can't do anything with them, I know that, hey, Dave, or you might be better, A, on the phone. B, you might call at different times and get them that I could never get them. C, you're just more talented with your tonality and the right questions you're going to ask.
Right.
And you might do a better job with them. But why don't you work out something with somebody in your office that's maybe better than you,
right?
Willing to do some of the work, because you're sitting on money right now. A, you should do it yourself. You should really hone in on do it better yourself. But if you're not going to do it and you call it a dead lead, find something to do with your dead leads, because you're sitting on money. And our egos are allowing it, because you won't give them to me, but you're going to hold them for what? It's the most flooring thing to listen to and watch. But at the same time, there are still people, and I know this because we've had people leave a team and go, I got all these leads that they said were dead. They tried, they texted. You give them to another team member. Next thing you know, they got 3 appointments. You're like, what the hell? Same people, better tonality. They tried different times. They had a different word, a different whatever.
Right.
And they're converted. So we know it works.
Oh, absolutely.
Get in the way and lock it down. So
absolutely. I mean, like Logan Deal says, think about people that reconnect at a reunion and end up dating. Right.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, there you go.
That is such a great analogy. And it's so apropos of something I was telling some of my clients last night, some of my agents last night. I said, look, I want you to work on your scripts. I want you to learn the scripts. But Dave, I have nobody to practice with. I said, well, have you ever acted before? I want you to chant them. I want you to recite them. And then I want you to say them to the wall or to a mirror, like you're romantically involved with the mirror.
Yeah, record them, put them on here.
Record them, right?
Now, I hate to listen to myself. You know what? Get over it. That's you. You're
right.
Get over it. I hate the way I look on video. I hate the way I sound. I'm sorry. It is you. Like, this is, you're not changing. You're not gonna look any better or worse. This is sales.
It's funny. The first time I heard that was Katie Lance on stage at Inman, and I've heard you say it too. It's just, I mean, it's true. But anyway, Jeff, we're running up against time.
Yeah.
I got a couple of quick things. We know how to contact you. JeffLobb.social is the best way to find Jeff. Sure. And that's great. SparkTankMedia.com. You can see all his stuff. I have 2 things. One is extremely important to me. It's something I do on every broadcast. And it's a simple question I have of you. Jeff, how can I, Dave Finale, Real Estate Skill Builder, how can I help you grow your business?
I think if you came across, either some agents, teams, or brokerages that are truly looking for something that they could add to their toolbox, I think that would be a really big help. And or maybe a top producer that's looking to level up. Maybe they'd be a great fit for me.
Awesome, great. And last but not least, everybody says when I finally contact them, they don't hesitate about coming on the broadcast.
Yeah,
because everybody wants to get the hat.
That's the only reason I showed up.
I know that. And I thank you for that. I'll get this out to you real soon. I mean, it's just something everybody's got to have. And, I don't know if you know who David Radney is. He just sent me a picture with him wearing the hat because he was on a few weeks ago. And it's just really cool. So I thank you so much. First of all,
$500 an hour, that's an expensive hat, but I want one.
Exactly. Right. Hey, man, thank you so much for coming on. Thank you so much. I really look forward to collaborating with you in the future. Everybody, if you're looking to get in touch with Jeff, it's jefflobb.social, SparkTankMedia.com. Cool. Jeff, just stay on for a second as we finish up and we sign off. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you next week. And next week, man, I tell you what, we've had some great people on next week. I don't know how he follows up on this one, but we've got the coach Kyle Draper coming on with us next week. So Instagram coach and just a great guy. Anyway, thanks a lot. We're going to go out here in a second if I can figure out how to do this. Right there we go. Jeff, thanks a lot, man.
Appreciate you.
Whoop.